Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime. Welcome back to yet again another video for the new year. Today we are going to be talking about Boruto episode 39 of the Boruto anime series. So without further ado, let us begin. So really quick before we actually get into this review, the nitty-gritty of it, I know this video is late when it comes down to Boruto episode 39. This is actually last week's episode of Boruto that aired, but I could not get this video out due to the fact that I was on vacation during this time, spending time with my family up in Massachusetts, so that is why I could not get this video out sooner than now. But when it comes down to episode 40 of Boruto, which is actually technically the episode that we should be on, since this is a brand new spanking week, and usually the day that Boruto ends up coming out, we should be getting episode 40 of Boruto. However, that is not the case for this week. Apparently, a lot of shows, well, maybe not a lot, but some of the shows over on Crunchyroll, Boruto included, as well as Black Clover, have not received another episode, a follow-up episode for this week. And that could be because of the fact that we are entering the new year, and then there is also that 1 week break in between, the fall 2017 season leading up to the winter 2018 season. There's that little, break in between. So, yeah, most likely that is the reason why we have not received some episodes for some shows that are originally supposed to come out on this day, or, from this week. That's probably why you haven't seen any over on Crunchyroll. So I just wanted to let you all know that most likely there will be no episode 40 of Boruto that we will get this week. If anything, it's going to get back on schedule, starting next week. So yeah, today's video will just be included with Boruto episode 39. So, when it comes down to this episode of Boruto, this episode basically covered the Mitsuki side story. I believe this is actually the only episode that will be covered regarding the Mitsuki side story. I don't think there's any more episodes that will, follow up along with this, but from what we got in this episode, this gave a lot of characterization and also a lot of reveals as to who Mitsuki is as an individual. Not that we kind of, didn't know already. I mean, let's be honest here, we did know that he was a creation of Orochimaru, and that, what Orochimaru usually creates is an artificial being, necessarily, which Mitsuki is. Orochimaru is technically a mad scientist at this point in the Naruto series, so I mean, it wasn't really that hard to figure out the connections between Mitsuki as well as Orochimaru. But in this episode, we basically got it revealed that Orochimaru's quote-unquote child, or creation, is in fact Mitsuki. But what was also kind of cool about this episode, which I found quite interesting, but at the same time, it wasn't really that huge of a surprise. Orochimaru has actually created other Mitsukis beforehand. We actually see an older Mitsuki within this episode, who is technically like the prototype for the Mitsuki that we see in, the Boruto series. But looking at older Mitsuki, it kind of brings up the question as to whether Mitsuki will actually look like this in the future, when Boruto is, older, Sarada is older, kind of like what we saw in episode 1 of the Boruto series. I'm actually kind of interested to see if, he will look like the exact carbon copy of the older Mitsuki that we saw in this episode of Boruto. But yeah, regarding the fact that Orochimaru has actually made other Mitsukis beforehand in preparation to, bring about the best of his quote-unquote child, so to speak, I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting, but it wasn't something that was that surprising. What really was surprising when it came down to this episode of Boruto was that Orochimaru actually states to Mitsuki that he has a very strong power within him, known as the Sage Power. And Sage Power, if anybody remembers that from the original Naruto series, Sage Power is like Boruto entering into his Sage Frog mode, and with that power gives you tremendous abilities and strength. And what we see in this episode with Mitsuki going full-on Sage mode transformation, that was hype. I I mean, we didn't really see much regarding, you know, his capabilities in this Sage mode, but we do know that he has tremendous speed, you know, and it was really cool to see, and it makes me definitely want to see more of Mitsuki's Sage mode in the future, whenever we will get it. But regarding to know that he has a Sage mode, that's pretty exciting to see. But also what Orochimaru states is that technically Mitsuki has more power than the previous Mitsuki and even Orochimaru combined. But yeah, just to get the confirmation regarding that Mitsuki actually has this Sage power and that he is technically stronger than Orochimaru, or at least he was created that way, that's like, it's really exciting to see, and I want to see, you know, more of where that will lead down toward the future episodes of the Boruto verse. So yeah. And we kind of, obviously, you know, at the end of the episode, we see as to why exactly he has this fascination towards Boruto, you know, from, you know, after being created, after learning more about himself, and actually, in a way, he doesn't really know the fact that when it came down to the whole confrontation between Orochimaru and the older Mitsuki, it was all a facade, necessarily, just to actually get Mitsuki to understand who he is and try to, you know, just follow along his own path, so to speak, which is kind of interesting regarding as to how Orochimaru went about that, because I personally was going to think that Orochimaru, you know, was going to keep things away and hidden away from Mitsuki, and at the same time, obviously, you know, use him for ulterior motives, you know, for the Hidden Leaf Village, which, I mean, could possibly happen later down the line, but so far, we haven't really seen much evil intent from Orochimaru so far in the series. But I mean, come on, Orochimaru is a master manipulator. He is also a master in disguise, so to speak, and he is technically working with the Hidden Leaf Village, and if he were to try to take it in from the inside out, it probably wouldn't go as well, you know, just due to the certain, you know, situation that he is in at the moment. But we'll see what happens, because we did see earlier on in one of the episodes of Boruto that when it came down to the relationship between Naruto, the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, and him using a terrorist, Orochimaru, in order to gain intel on certain things, you know, if that were to break out, it could cause utter chaos. It really could. So maybe we could see that later on. I have no idea, but I just gotta say right now, when it came down to the episode of this week's episode of Boruto, or well, technically last week's episode of Boruto, getting the information on Mitsuki, you know, just giving him more characterization, who he truly is, the power that he contains, it was really cool. It was really cool, and I'm excited to see more of, you know, what Mitsuki's capabilities are. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you guys thought about this episode of Boruto. Hopefully, we'll get episode 40 next week of Boruto, so that way we can continue on, which might start off with, I guess, probably the start of the Naruto, or Boruto movie, excuse me. So, we'll see what happens. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.